We've since been joined by Mr. Kenny Okolugbo, who is a political analyst. Good morning.
Good morning.
And also a known member of the PDP, and also you are a commissioner.
Yes,
in Delta State.
In Delta State,
yes.
Yes, so we're looking at the national conference.
Okay.
And we just asked him what his reaction was when the president announced that he was going to set up a committee to discuss, to look at this possibility.
It's shocking that Nigerians reacting a few of Nigerians, I would say not majority of Nigerians, are reacting negatively to the conference. I would only accept one of the areas my colleague in the studio talked about. That is the 1914 amalgamation of the country was basically done for the economic benefits, because we had the Northern Protectorate, we had the Southern Protectorate, and we had the Lagos colony. And if you trace the history from the Richards Constitution in fact from the Clifford's Constitution of 1922 on to Richards Constitution of 1946 to even the final Macpherson's Constitution of 1951 that gave us the derivation principle, you understand that right from time there have been an imbalance in the terms of how we live together, because you found that birds of different feathers conglomerated together in the Nigerian contraption. And when you look at it from that perspective, you also accept that by the time we had the 1979 Constitution, which was headed by Rotimi Williams, the 49 members that actually drafted that Constitution, also there were lapses. Agitations was what led into us having another Constitution in 1999. And ever since then, the civil society have been saying, let us talk. Let us come together and know how we can live together. I am from Delta State, for example. We have been saying we want to control our resources. We want, because the derivation principle that was abolished by the 1963 Constitution, which was established by Macpherson in 1951, should come back to fore. And how can we all achieve this? Even though now we're even saying we are ready to go beyond oil in Delta State, for example. But these are our resources. I'm from an oil-producing area. And that's why I am a commissioner in the SOPADEC, because I'm from an oil-producing area. And we are producing these resources, and we have degradation. We have areas that have not been well taken care of. So I'm using this as a big example for us to know that, look, talking together, it's very necessary and it's key. If you remember the constitutional conference that he talked about, that Obasanjo put together, the people from Niger Delta walked out. Why did they walk out? Because they were talking about derivation principle, and there was no balance as at that particular point in time. And so I would say that that national conference was a failed one. And so now the president, in his wisdom, has hearkened to what David Mark echoed and said, look, let us have a conference, a national conference. Let us discuss first, and we'll bring it back to the National Assembly. Yes, we might say it should go to a referendum because it is the people. When we say we the people, we all say that that constitution is not from us because it was a military-imposed constitution. And so I'm shocked that anybody would be criticizing.
Okay, you have raised another very knotty issue in your submission.
Yes.
The issue about it going to the National Assembly. That has been the crux of argument in the course of the week. And major constitution lawyers like Ishe Sage feel that it should go to the people and not to the National Assembly.
At that mature point in time, the word sovereign is what that has been the key. If you subject it to the people without the National Assembly, let us agree on one thing. We have 360 members in the Federal House of Reps. Each of those people represent a federal constituency in this country.
Seemingly.
Yeah. But they do represent them. We elected them.
Did we?
Well,
that's
at least we elected
issue.
them. Then we now have 109 senators who are representing senatorial constituencies. What we are now saying is, have they not amended the Constitution? We must give it to this administration. For the first time, we were able to amend our Constitution. We were able to amend our electoral laws. We were able to make it possible. Let me give an example. State governors who, naturally, their elections were nullified and they were re-elected, would have had an unlimited term of office. We were able to limit it to, if you have won an election before and it was nullified and you won again, your election was terminated at 4 years. We have been able to bring in, let's call a spade, and all that has been done by the National Assembly. So would you now have a national conference and ignore this National Assembly without an input, saying that they shouldn't touch any aspect of the recommendations, and subject it to referendum. What if referendum, the recommendation says that there should be no elections in 2015, or that we should abolish the federal system of government? What? Because we say we are not actually practicing true federalism, and we're going back to the parliamentary system of government. What do we do at that mature point in time? Don't you agree that there will be chaos?
Mr. Kolubo,
that's the truth.
We say we are a democracy. And what is a democracy? Of the people, by the people.
Yes.
So, if you don't take it to the people, you want to take it to the reps of the people.
Nobody is saying they shouldn't take it to the people. Well, what I'm trying to say here is that it should be subjected to the representative of the people in the National Assembly now. To look at what after, that's exactly what I'm saying. Then take it to the people for referendum. Except you're saying we don't have confidence in the people we have elected into the National Assembly.
Okay. Can I take us one step or a few steps back? Because during the course of the last couple of weeks, I've had conversation with quite a few commentators and analysts and lawyers. And the reference, or what they often refer to, is the fact that Nigerians seem to have very short memory span, and we don't remember a lot of things. That the constitution we have now, have we really made the most of it?
Well, that's a very important angle you have brought out. If we say we have not made the most of it, but we have seen the imbalance, and the imbalance we have sort of outshadows the areas that we have not made use of in terms of most of it. Because the truth about it is, we must not pretend. There's a lot of agitations in the country right now along ethnic lines. And if you remember, I'll take you back. We had the MPC, NCNC, and the Action Congress. We had political parties that were tailored along regional lines in the past, which we tried, Action Group, which we tried to eliminate by the 1999 Constitution, by the way we have established political parties now. Because, well, we say we might not have parties discuss the National Conference, but you cannot wish them away. But this, implementing the Constitution, lies with the federal government. And don't forget that you have exclusive list.
I'm going to have to interject.
You have exclusive list.
This same federal government that is in power, that has not effectively and efficiently implemented this constitution, do you think it will suddenly wake up when you have all Nigerians sitting together, having this debate, and then coming up with a reviewed constitution or a completely newly written one? Then you will say, oh yeah, now because it is written by Nigerians, you won't implement it.
But you must accept that the fact that the National Conference has, the framework has, they're looking forward to a framework being made by those who have been appointed now, shows that the federal government has accepted that there are certain areas where they have had shortcomings, like you rightly said. Let us talk. Let us see what will come out of it. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Okay, the question that some people have put to me, which I have no answer for, and I'll present to both of you, is the fact that when you have one talent and you don't utilize it, what will give anybody any confidence to ask that people give them 10 more talents?
Well, you should know that, like I rightly said, there are a lot of inhibitations in the federal constitution as well. Because you give so much power to the center. A lot of governments have agitated this. They've said this. Like the police, for example, is controlled by the government. Funds are controlled by the federal government. Then if you also notice, even as a state, if you have to make negotiations with any external country, you must go to the federal government, because they control the embassies, they control the foreign missions. Everything has to go through the federal government. And so what the agitations have said is, let us have a weaker...
We're still back to this issue of
a weaker center than... No, it's not one talent. Let me ask you.
Let me ask you.
Because that's a bit subjective.